Hola a todos, seguimos aquí en The Creative Fest, seguimos buscando respuestas sobre la diferencia, sobre aquello que nos hace únicos, sobre nuestro potencial de alguna manera. A veces la diferencia es obvia, otras veces es más sutil, en ocasiones la explotamos a tope y en otras se intenta esconder, pero en todos los casos nos hace únicos a nosotros y a nuestro trabajo. Hoy, ahora mismo, de hecho, cruzamos el Atlántico y nos vamos a Estados Unidos, a Texas, para seguir sumando visiones y opiniones y experiencias. Y ahora es un placer contactar y entrar en diálogo con James Victore. Él es artista, es director de arte, es diseñador gráfico, consagrado, conferenciante, coach y escritor. Y mil cosas más. Es un creador muy activo en redes sociales, sin tapujos, muy transparente y realmente inspirador. So I'll switch now to English. James, it's definitely someone who to follow when it comes to creative thinking. His work has been exhibited in different museums, including MoMA in New York or Louvre in Paris, and he has published 2 weeks, which I really personally recommend. So James, it's an honor to have you here.
It is a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for asking me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
And the first question is obvious probably, but I really wanted to know, and it is, what makes you different?
That's an excellent question and a very kind of disarming question to start off with. It's just like, okay. I think if there is an answer, it's that my ability to let myself play, my ability to just relax and not worry about what other people think or what a client wants or what, and just play. And I think that in itself is kind of a superpower.
I've been reading in your book, which you explain how when we're young, we all feel different, but because we are social animals, we do our best to try to belong, to try to be like everyone else. But in fact, when you recognize that you're weird, you are recognizing that you are great somehow. No?
Yes.
How do you get this confidence to believe in your weirdness?
The confidence to believe in it, you have it when you're born. When we're born, we're full of joy and play and dance, and we can sing, and we can make fun of ourselves, and we can be goofy, and we can, fall and not worry about it. But that gets kind of taught out of you. So unless you have a super strong supporting family who's just like, you just keep going, which very few of us have. It takes as a late teen, or I think you don't kind of grasp it again until you're in your 20s, maybe. Where you it just takes a lot of practice, because now you're starting to read and follow some people or follow writers or artists, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, maybe I could have some of that. And it just takes it takes more practice than anything. It's not impossible. It's just that you have to do the work to learn how to trust your voice, how to put it out in the world and not be afraid of it.
So voice is another topic which you talk a lot about. How do you find your voice? How do you recognize it? And how do you trust it? And how do you build a career upon your voice?
Such great questions, Bian. Thank you. The voice thing is funny, and I get asked that a lot from I was going to say younger designers, but not even younger designers or younger artists, or just generally people who are in their 30s and 40s who wake up and go, hey, wait a minute, I'm in this job, I went to school for this, I know I'm creative, why am I unhappy? And they're unhappy because they're creatively stifled, they're creatively constipated, because they know they have this gift, this song, and there's no outlet for it, at least in their current job. And I always say that it's not about finding, because it's not like in the closet or hiding somewhere, or I forgot it someplace. It's in you. It's in you. And the hardest part is trusting that and allowing it to go. And in just like any other confidence, you only need to, you don't need to walk around and have a big, strong opinion all the time. You just practice it in 20 seconds here, or, 30 seconds there. Just like any other muscle, if you practice it too much, it gets overworked. So you need to kind of pace yourself and learn to be more comfortable with your voice. But like I said, it's not hiding anywhere. If it's hiding anywhere, it's in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And the process is just to kind of like allow it to come out occasionally. And because the problem is, the biggest thing is, if you don't do that, you never find out what you're capable of.
Mm-hmm. And everyone has a voice.
Yeah. Well, the first line in my book,
Yes.
I think the first line in the book says, we are all born wildly creative, and some of us just forgot.
Mm-hmm.
I used to hang out at a bar when I was in my early 20s. I used to hang out at this bar in New York when I was in art school, and it was all firemen and cops and garbage collectors.
Mm-hmm.
And it was old Irish pub. And these guys were politically astute, hilarious, great storytellers. And I used to think, oh my God, these guys are artists and writers, and they just don't know it. I mean, we've all kind of seen these people. We have that uncle who is just like hilarious and should be on stage or should be singing, right?
The other thing is if you really want to allow this voice, if you really want to follow it, no? I guess there's also the option of not wanting to following it, or maybe it's fear of failing.
Yeah, definitely fear. Because it is putting yourself out. It is putting yourself out into the world. And there's two reasons why we don't. There's two reasons why we don't put our voice out into the world. One is because it's too easy, and two is because it's too hard. Meaning, it's too easy because it's this gift that we've kind of taken for granted our entire life. Oh, what my ability to kind of, put an outfit together that always sparkles. What my ability to like these goofy little drawings. Oh, nobody cares about that. It's just, these things that come easy to us. So we poo-poo our talents and don't recognize them. And it's too hard because once we do recognize that, yes, then we have to put it out into the world, and we live in fear that someone may not like it. And the truth is, someone may not like it. And we have to get used to that. I know that there are people out there who don't like my work or don't like my ideas, and I can't let that. I cannot focus on that in that direction. I can only go in this direction.
In your case, for example, with whom do you think when you create? Is there an audience? Is there a person you're thinking of when you're creating, or you just create following your voice and thinking for yourself?
That's a great thing to bring up, because I started out as a commercial graphic designer working for clients. And at the same time, I was kind of developing my own voice and understanding that beyond the client, beyond making a client happy, there was an audience. It was the real people who were going to see that. And so many times I thought, I just felt that the audience was like, but no, you're not letting them, you're not giving them the opportunity to be entertained or educated or enlightened. All you want is this small thing. And I see this whole bandwidth of color and excitement. And so I started understanding that there was an audience out there. And once I started doing that and making work for that audience, I realized that the work that they like is the work that I like. The things that they're afraid of are the things that I'm afraid of. The things that they love are the things that I love. So I could really, really just relax into that. And, to be honest, I'm just starting. I'm just getting good at this. I'm just getting good at accepting my weirdness and allowing my voice in my drawings and in my writing. And it's fun, and it should be, because quite frankly, everybody wants that.
I think that's amazing that you say that you are just starting, because somehow the best is yet to come, no? Do you think it took you all these years to trust your weirdness? Was this a path that you were building to get to the point where you trust your weirdness, and now you can start to play, and now you can start to have fun?
Yeah. I think it is a journey. It is a process. And what has really helped me kind of catapult it in the last 4 or 5 years has
Mhm.
been when I ramped up my teaching. Because in teaching you're doing everything twice, right? You're doing it for yourself, because people say, why did you write this book? I said, well, these were ideas. These are all the ideas I need to get up in the morning. These are
Mhm.
the ideas that I need to remember to get through my day. And
Mhm.
I might as well have just put a 3-ring binder on it and kept it for myself. But I'm like, well, if I like it, other people probably like it, so I'll publish it, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I think it's just that's the process. And I've got Laura and I have we've got we got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old,
Uh-huh.
and for me it's I can't even stress the importance of putting them on this path. As it's keeping, well, they're already on it, they're born on it, but keeping them on that path,
Mhm.
because there's going to be so many opportunities where the outside world is going to say, you're weird, that's bad,
Mhm.
or why are you doing that, because that's not what we do, this kind of thing. And I think it's there are some people who get it early on and maintain it, and then there's people who it's just a lifetime of building your confidence and trying to trust yourself, and trying to, quite frankly, trying to love who you are enough to respect that art, that
Mhm.
craft, that skill, and that weirdness.
Mhm. Do you think it's a good moment now in society in general to believe in your difference? I mean, we're getting to the belief that it is important to build upon your difference.
I think now,
Mhm.
with everything going on in the world, I think this is the most important time to do that. This
Mhm.
is the most important time to stand out and to stand up and to use your voice,
Mhm.
um, and to also everything else that comes with that, which is accepting that other people have a voice and other people have their they other people need to be allowed to use their voice.
Mhm.
And other, we all want to be heard, and we all want to be loved, and that's the way it should be. And nobody should shut anybody else down because
Mhm.
of that. So now is probably one of the most important points in my lifetime, that this has to be heard.
Mhm. Do you think that
And I'm sorry, what one other thing is that the answers to today's problems will only come from creative thinking. They will not come from shit that's been done before. They will not come from any government. They will
Mhm.
only come from us, the people, and from our creativity.
Mhm. Do you think that somehow spotting your difference leads you to also detect your talent? Are those two concepts that somehow are linked together?
Oh,
Difference and
totally.
talent?
Yeah, totally. They're totally linked. Um, um, the one of the seminal ideas in Feck Perfuction is the idea that the things that made you weird as a kid make you great today. Um, and that is, as an adult, following through with that joy and that play and that weirdness. And I'm realizing there are so many things in my life that are changing right now. And one of the things that's changing is I've never really allowed myself to sing and dance as much as I did when I was a kid. And I remember when I was a kid,
Mhm.
and I've become stiff because of it. And I'm very conscious of that. And I'm conscious of the way I walk even. And I was walking down the street just the other day. I was walking down the street, like 2 days ago, walking down the street, and I thought, I have a little wiggle in my walk. I got a little hip like I had never felt that before.
Uh-huh.
There was just a level of allowing and relaxing into who I am. And I've got adult coaching students, so I do a lot of creative coaching. And I've got one gal who, she's on it, man. She's doing such a good job, and she's following this course, and she's freeing up. And I said, what's her name? Addie. I said, Addie, I'm going to make a prediction that by the time we're done, your voice is going to change. And she
Mhm.
said, that's crazy that you say that. She said, I feel it already. Because what's happening is she's just settling into her body and getting out of here. And that's just allowing your voice and allowing the creativity to come through. You allow you to come through.
Mhm. I love a concept that you just brought up, which is freeing up. Somehow detecting or believing in your difference and your weirdness makes you free, no? And the more free you feel, the more creative you are.
Yeah. 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 And it's a very scary thing.
Mhm.
It's a very scary thing because, now, Bibiana, you're talking about vulnerability
Mm.
and authenticity. Your goal is to be authentic,
Mm.
but that means you have to divulge, and something I learned through art history years ago was that any piece of art that is worth anything divulges something of its author, and
Mm.
that's really important. That we have to put ourselves into our work, or else what is it? It's just like you're picking colors
Mm.
or following somebody else's script. And
Mhm.
so that the authenticity and the vulnerability that comes with that is really important. But that's the freedom that quite frankly everybody seeks or wants. Well, everybody would like. I don't know if they seek it or not because it's work.
It's hard work. Now, why is it so difficult to get there?
Isn't it
Because
crazy? Because there's nobody stopping you.
exactly. So what's happening? Why is it so
Because we
difficult to
think too
get
much.
there?
We think too much. We worry too much. Because I mean, you're going to get me going on this whole thing of the inner critic.
Mm.
So when we're kids, we
Mm.
have all, and I see it with my kids. It's so easy to walk behind them and say, "Oh no, don't do that. Stop doing this, and that's dangerous."
Exhausting.
And what happens is that happens. Parents happen. Society happens. Clumsy teachers
Mm.
who say, "Oh, you'll probably never be good at math." That shuts you down the rest of your life. And
Mm.
at 7 years old, we don't have the wherewithal to go, could you rephrase that? Because I'm going to take that the wrong way. And you don't go home and tell your parents because that's authority. Authority said something, right? I used to get these report cards when I was a kid, and I used to actually listen to them, and it shut me down terribly.
Mm.
Or we pay attention to what kids are bad at. Now, not all the stuff that people are good at. So what happens is we get these pre-recorded voices in our heads, but they're not our voice.
Mm.
They're not us.
Mm.
But yet they sit there in the bleachers and judge every thought,
Yes.
every action, every bit of creativity that attempts to come out of us gets judged by these pre-recorded voices out of history. This study that I'm doing about creativity is leading me into all this study about personality and trauma. And it's crazy because most of us are not who we want to be.
Mm.
We're living our lives to avoid the trauma that we've existed in our,
Yes. Yes.
we spend all of our time avoiding that, doing things not to feel that way again,
Mm.
or to not have those things happen. And and that's where all the fear comes from.
Mm.
And it's because we spend so much time in our head, and then what happens is we just start reacting to everything from that, not in a intellectual, non-emotional response, which is totally different than a reaction. A reaction is what a lizard does when you scare it, right? Um, but we spend all of our time in our heads and not enough in our body. And our ego, our body won't lie to us, right? Somebody says, "Hey, Viviana, we'll stay out another hour and have a couple more drinks," and in your gut, your body goes, I don't know if that's a good idea, right? We need to learn to trust that. But your ego doesn't want to trust.
Mm.
It wants to be in charge.
Yeah.
And the ego is all those critical voices.
Mm.
But your ego lies to you because it wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you small. It wants to keep you poor.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
So it takes a lot. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of courage as well. No, of courage. No, courage is the word I would say. No, it's like I'm gonna do it because I'm definitely positive about it. No, I really want to make it.
I want to do it because I love myself. And
Mm.
it's hard work, and it's courage, and it's also consciousness. And it's
Yeah.
really hard when those voices come up. You have to kind of catch yourself and go, "Oh, that's funny. Why would I think that right now?" It's because most of it is just lies.
Mm.
You say, "Well, I'm lying to myself. Let me be true to myself." I mean, that's to thine own self be true, right? I mean, that's what that means.
Mm.
To not listen to the bullshit.
How about your journey? Did you realize at one point that you were lying to yourself, or were you always true to yourself? Were you always honest? Were you always believing in your difference? How was it for you?
I was kind of born to do what I do. I mean, we all were born to do what, we don't always end up at that place, but I can go back historically and look at my life and see these points where I was following my purpose. My purpose, what I was born to do. And I also can find the 2 or 3 points in my life where I got off my purpose and I started living on like autopilot, or I got very unconscious about it. And they usually involve, for me, they were usually triggered by some aspect about money. I either had to make more, or I was moving in fear of poverty. So I was making choices out of fear of poverty, which are not good choices to make. And I'm just now coming out of a period of 5 or 7 years of that, of making bad choices, not running my life correctly, not running my relationship correctly, and suffering terribly from it. So now I'm trying to get back on it and trying to be back on my purpose and conscious, and love myself enough to do the right thing.
When was it clear for you that you weren't following your purpose? When you decided to make the change?
Again, when you feel it in your body, when you feel it in your body, when you start gaining weight, when you start getting sick a lot, or start getting hurt a lot, when your body's trying to tell you something that your ego doesn't want you to listen to.
The body knows it all. The body knows it all. Yes.
Yeah.
What about the purpose? I think you also talk a lot in your book about it. How do you know why you are here for? How do you define your purpose?
Purpose is one of the sections of the book. And the idea is that I used to say, people say, how do I find my purpose? I'd say, well, what do you cry about in the shower? What is that thing that drives that you're like, oh, I really wish and now I say, I know what your purpose is. And your purpose is just to get back to that joy and to that play and to that that happiness and that ability to just be you. I mean, my job right now, my purpose is I'm working very hard to just get paid to be James Victore. And that's a lot. That's a lot of work. But it's really worth it. And it doesn't matter what I'm doing professionally, because if I am truly following my purpose, first of all, happiness is there. And second of all, that will depict anything outside of my purpose will not be James Victore. I won't make those decisions. I won't have to go into those arenas. And it will shepherd me into what I'm supposed to be doing. Because with understanding that you just want to be you, and understanding how, quite frankly, technically easy it is, but if you can trust and you can allow and you can, be vulnerable, it's so incredibly fulfilling. And then, and who on the planet doesn't want that level of happiness? I think so many of us live in a relatively unhappy fashion or unhappy way.
Totally.
Frustrated creatively too.
But most of us look another way, right? So it's what do you say? It's hard work. It's like to be who you are, to be James Victore, to be Viviana, or to whoever you are. It's hard work. It's hard work.
And you said look the other way, and the first thing I thought of is drinking. We choose these tricks to kind of to try to like not make, to really further not make us pay attention to that,
totally.
and or soften the pain.
One other thing you talk a lot about in the book is action. You really need to take action. No? It's like thoughts about it won't take you anywhere. You really
Mhm.
need to get things rolling, to
Yeah.
not get your hands on work.
Yeah, yeah, too much thinking, because if you know, too much thinking, because even if you're thinking about it all the time, that means you're still in your head.
Totally.
You know, you're not doing, in the book it says, action beats worry, and action beats too much thinking. Um, um, Action is the way. And on top of it, because I know for me, because I'll get all in my head, and I'm like, I wake up and I have a good heavy list of things I need to get done, and
Uh-huh.
that's my action list. But when if I stop and I sit on the couch and I start looking around going, all of a sudden, all the voices come in, all the critics. I'm like, no, 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 no. Let's go. Let's go. They can't bother you when you're moving.
Mm.
When I
Uh,
was writing this book, dear, sitting out on the porch at 3 o'clock in the morning in the dark and typing, oh, the critics, oh my gosh, the critics in my head. You're going to say that, really? Or the worst one was you're a designer, you're not a writer, what are you doing this for? Like, who do you think you are? It's
mm,
crazy.
yes, yes, totally. And somehow it's much more easier again to think on those critics than to think on the good things, no?
It
So it's
is, it's totally easy, yeah.
like it's also an excuse somehow to just let go,
Completely,
to just
complete
stop.
excuse.
Mhm. Action. Do you have your day designed somehow? What is your creative routine? What do you wake up and you do? Is it structured somehow?
It usually is. Quarantine, and COVID and stuff has really kind of thrown it into a mess.
Yeah.
Um, but it also opened up a few other things. Like I've been going on Instagram Live a
Yes.
lot, and
Okay.
that has really changed the game for me. Having
Ah.
access to an audience and answering questions and just being available.
Mhm.
It's led to this new project that I'm doing that's called the Creative Warrior. So where I'm it's actually kind of a more focused version of that Instagram Live thing.
Mhm.
But yes, generally especially my mornings have a structure to it, because I get up very early and I have to do there's a few things that I need to do to get this straight
Mhm.
first, and to get myself supercharged and ready. I generally wake up early and I generally have a lot of energy. But some of that energy sometimes goes in the wrong direction.
What
Um,
direction, if I may
and
ask?
What's that?
What direction, if I may
Oh,
ask?
the bad direction sometimes.
Okay.
The too much thinking, the kind of like spend a day beating yourself up.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, I know that if people are listening, I know that they can understand that, and it's difficult to get out of that.
Mhm.
Um, um, so yes, I do have a daily regimen that I go through,
Mhm.
and I try to be scheduled and I try to be organized, because that's the only way that stuff gets done. Um,
Mhm. Do you work, James, by yourself, or you've got a little team that helps you, or how are you organized?
uh, I have a team. I have a team that, so this new project, which is called the Creative Warrior,
Mm.
is I have a team for that.
Okay.
And then I have another different team for my speaking gigs and my corporate workshops. But that is kind of sitting right now because
Mhm.
nobody's traveling and it's
Mhm.
not happening.
Mhm.
But after the quarantine, then that will get busy. In the studio, it's just me, and in writing and stuff, it's just me. So
Mhm.
it's a tight little team, but it makes me flexible.
Okay.
And with two kids, I have to be very flexible.
I know. I know. How do you
you know, what's his name?
my name? I
No,
my boy,
yeah.
Max,
Ah, excellent.
3 years old as well. So
Ah,
yeah. I'm in the same phase. So
yeah. Nova is 3.
oh, nice.
Yeah,
But
and
I think like
4-year-old.
looking. Oh, they're both here. Which one? That's Nova, and the other one is Wyatt.
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 Wyatt is 5, and Nova is 3.
I guess you're learning a lot as well from your kids, no?
They are my guru.
Totally.
Mm.
They're so free. They're so weird. They're so joy. You know, it's just joy. It's pure joy and energy and freedom and happiness. It's like for me, it's like the best lesson I've ever learned. I've
Yeah.
ever learned
Yeah.
because it's like in your face.
This morning they were calling for me from my daughter's room, and they were calling, and I came in my daughter's room, and I'm like, where is everybody? And then I hear them, and I open the closet door, and they're comfortable. They've made it into a small bedroom, and my son is sleeping on an upper shelf, and my daughter's sleeping below.
They're the best. They are the best. Absolutely the best.
Yeah, and all I can do is try not to ruin that.
Mm. And give them confidence, no? And give them tools to follow this path, no? The path.
Yeah. And we're all born different, because my daughter Nova has an amazing sense of her power and confidence, and my son Wyatt is a lot like me. It's going to take him a longer time to get there.
Mm.
He's super sensitive like me.
Mm. Well, all artists are very sensitive, no? That's also your material to work with.
It is important to be able to see and feel.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But I'm going to tell you something about what you just said, which is that it's going to take him a long time to get there, no? Like it happened to you. I was interviewing the other day Debbie Millman.
Mm.
Okay, and she told me that after she's done this podcast for such a long time, and that one thing that all her interviews have in common is that, first of all of them are vulnerable and have fears and have blah blah blah, no matter what success they had.
Yeah.
And that the only person who she interviewed who wasn't like that vulnerable or that in doubt was Milton Glaser, and it was because it was when he was 80 years old. So he was saying the best thing that can happen to you is to get there, to get at your peak when you're like about to die, because what's going to happen after this? You can all fall down. So people who have success at 30 or at 20, it's like, what am I going to do with my life after this? No?
Yeah.
And when you build it like slowly but strong, it's like the best. It's like the best that can happen to you.
Yeah. Even success doesn't bring confidence.
Yeah, of course.
It's crazy.
What is success for you, James?
Yeah, what is success for me? That's a great question, because that's always been my question. And Bibiana, what has always been interesting for me with that question is travel, especially if I go to Europe and I come back and I say, like to the States, I'm like, am I working so I can live, or am I living so I can work? And that's a super important question. So the idea of success, for me, the quintessential American ideal of success is money. And that was never kind of important to me. I don't know why. It has become more important because I have 2 little children. And I need to, money is congealed energy. It makes things happen, right? But the success thing has always been to try to just be as free and creative as I could, to be as open and loving as I could. And I fall off of that too. But just try to be honest with myself and be as as human as possible.
Are you on the path?
Oh yeah. No, it's good. Yeah.
What brings you joy?
Don't know. I will let you know when I get there.
Well, it also keeps you going, no? Trying to find it.
Yeah. There are times when I'm working and writing that's just like, blah, that was awesome. Or, and there are definitely times with my kids. Like today, I took my son Wyatt to his little day camp, and it was a different one than last week. So it was relatively new, and he really was scared. He was like, like this, and he says, I want to go home. And I was able to just coddle him and say, hey, come here, let's sit down and watch for a little bit. Let's sit down and watch and see what people are doing. And I said, hey, do you want to go and make a house with these big, it was like a parkour course with like huge mats and everybody's bouncing and swinging off of things. And I said, you want to go build with those big mats? And he's like, oh yeah. And he just took off. And he started building, and he went and grabbed another one and dragged it over. And that was like, that made me really happy.
You say our imperfections make us attractive. What would your imperfections be?
You know, I have many, as we all do. Years ago, I started recording myself on YouTube, and just doing 3-minute, 5-minute, talking about ideas. And I was very resistant to doing it because I didn't want to look bad on camera. And it took a lot to get me over that. And now what I start doing is whenever I'm have an opportunity, or I have an audience, or I have a whatever, and pardon me if I have to swear in this. Now my new thing is I get to teach people the trick, and the trick is this. Now I'm capable of saying, do you know what makes James Victore a sexy motherfucker? It's because I say so. So I understand that I have flaws, and I understand that I have imperfections, but they are what make me who I am, and they make me strong, and they make me beautiful. And my work has wild imperfections, and people somehow find it attractive. And I want more people to lean into that. I want more people to understand that in their work and in their lives, because then they can just relax into it.
It is about this moment when you relax, everything becomes smoother, and everything flows, and everything, and you touch this freedom / creativity that we are searching.
Yeah, if you can just kind of just take a deep breath and bring everything into your solar plexus and your belly, and understand all that energy that comes out from there, and understand that this is not always, doesn't have to always be on. And this is just that ability to kind of, walk into a room and feel confident.
Somehow it's about subtracting yourself, It's like getting yourself out of the way, and just letting your energy.
Yeah, oddly enough, Bibiana, it's actually kind of like getting the physical body out of the way, right? Yes. So your soul can speak, so your energy can speak, right?
You always say, well, I want to paraphrase you. Let me see, I don't know. It's you become who you pretend to be. So, if you want to develop on that.
That is a phrase that has been since Ovid and Seneca, the great orators and the Stoics, and I read it in Kurt Vonnegut. So it's just this idea throughout history about this, and I think since I wrote it in the book, I've changed my ideas about everything, but or more refined or fine-tuned the ideas. And this is about the idea that your personality is not permanent. Most people are like, this is who I am. I'm afraid of these things. I can't do these things. I'll never be able to do this. I really like these things, but this is not permanent. This is just the things that we keep telling ourselves. So if you start thinking about the future, the beautiful future you want for yourself, who is that person? And how can you just start living that now? I've read something recently that I'm not sure about. I have to keep thinking about it, that your the future you is more important than you now. So you have to start acting into that character. And I'm not sure about that, but I do like, and I do it myself. I've always done this myself of really, really looking into my future and imagining myself traveling, and imagining myself with the money that comes easy. And physical health has always been important to me because I have two kids and I want to be there for them. And so yeah, and some people go, oh, you mean like fake it till you make it? And I'm like, no, don't use that word fake, because that word has its own negative power to it. You don't want to attach to that. It's just about being, and being who you really desire to be.
Mm-hmm. And then you also talk about when you do this exercise of projecting, of dreaming big, no? Because since you're dreaming, let's do it big. But somehow, James, it's so difficult to dream big. No? It's like you yourself constrain yourself. No, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can achieve so much.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I was thinking about this recently, and this is a new idea for me, and I have to write about it. Is you said the word dream. So
Yes.
we all have these dreams. We all have these daydreams or recurring dreams when we're sleeping of beautiful things happening for us. I have it all the time. And, well, not all the time. I have sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And, we need to understand that those dreams that we're having have a purpose. They're already ours.
Mm-hmm.
They're waiting for us.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to go and live into that.
Yeah.
Boy, I wish I could. No.
Mm-hmm.
You have that vision because it's in you.
Mm-hmm.
It's in you. Go get it. Go be that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it takes work. Everything takes work. But you know what takes work? You know what's really hard? Working in a coffee shop or working in a bank or working in a store, knowing inside you that you are talented and you're capable and you're beautiful, and knowing that you shouldn't be there, that is hard work.
Mm.
So which work do you want to do?
Mm. No matter what, it's hard work. So since you have to work hard, just choose your path. Just choose the right path, no?
Yeah. The Buddha's first tenet is life is suffering. And it's suffering because of attachment, because we attach to, these ideas, the negative ones, or our desires, which our desires are even an attachment, and we need to be careful of those as well. But life is suffering. It's not easy in any direction. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be easy as long as it's not sad.
Exactly. Struggling can also be fun, no?
Yes, I think a lot of what I teach and a lot of what's in the book is just that. It's the attitude and perspective that we apply. It's not that something happened to us. It's how we react to that creates our attitude and our perspective.
Totally. Yeah.
I mean, that's Marcus Aurelius. That's the Stoics.
Totally. You work with many creatives. What is the best advice or the simple advice that you give to them to start building a creative career?
I think that is mixed with the best advice that I try to give myself, and it's just to relax. Just to relax. To relax is part of it, and to relax into knowing. And the knowing is really important, because the knowing part is understanding that you can have these things that you want. And you just have to relax and do the work and be a little bit patient. So, and again, relaxing is, it's hard to do.
Breathing, yeah. So simple, so difficult. Like life itself.
Like life.
And I would like to end with one thing that I love about your book.
Don't end. Don't end.
Which is the secret of the universe is that no one knows shit. No one knows the answer because no one knows your answer. So that is so real. That is so true. So it's like, relax. First of all, relax and keep trying to look for your answer, I guess.
Yeah, stop. I mean, too many people have stacks of books next to their bed and have done all these courses, and they're looking everywhere for answers, and the answer is here. we have all the answers. You know, I have got, 30, 40-year-old professionals who are frustrated and who want this, but they'll get is this. And to get them, and they ask me these questions and I go, you know the answer, right? And they're like, I said, don't look in your head. Don't look in your head. Feel it in your body. What's the answer? And they go, yeah.
Once again, it's about getting out of the way. It's like letting your body. That's why kids know all the answers. That's why they are so smart, because their mind doesn't get on the way.
No.
We have to learn
Brilliant.
so much.
Brilliant.
I know. James, it's been a pleasure. I'm sure that that's going to be a next time, because we're doing lots of projects and lots of TV shows. And so I'll for sure get back to you, because you're inspiring and you're this energy, you have this energy, and you connect so straight and so powerfully with the audience.
Wonderful.
It's always a pleasure following you.
Thank you. When this breaks, I'm gonna travel and I'm gonna come your way, because I want to visit my friend Andrea Buenafuente.
It's a good friend of mine too.
No.
Yes, of course.
So sweet. So sweet. Yeah, such a sweet guy. Yeah, I want to come see him and his wife and spend some time. But it's anything that you want, I'm your guy. Okay.
Great. And when you're here, we'll organize a dinner together then with Andrea, with Sylvia, and with some others. We will for sure. I'll let him know now. Super. Yes. Such a pleasure. We'll be in touch for sure. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Adios. Adios. Bye.